And the BIA Podcast is back from an interesting week of college football. Our game was interesting in the first quarter, but beyond that, not too much. Before we get into the football of it all, Phil, how's it thrilling?
Yeah, man. Things are good. Plugging along, and just like the Buckeyes, trying to get to the end of a season in life, season in football. Just trying to make sure you finish strong.
Got it. For those who are not watching on YouTube, Phil says his name says Phil Thrill.
So that's what they used to call me.
Oh, wow.
That's what they
okay.
used to say.
Well, we're not going to go down that road. We're going to go ahead and talk about the football of it all. Wow. So Purdue.
As I stated before the game, Purdue, and they were indeed doo-doo-esque. Sadly, salty we got that last touchdown in the game. I listened to it on the radio, and it was just like, man, the backups gave up that TD, which kind of sucks. But another one of those games that was a comfortable win, but not exciting necessarily to watch. Outside of, I guess, like second quarter, they scored, I think, 24 points. So a lot of scoring in that one quarter. Pretty much all the scoring for the entire game for both teams was Ohio State second quarter, and that's when we did get to see a playoff like Jeremiah Smith game. I mean, Jeremiah Smith has been really good all year, but that game was more like what we saw, against a Tennessee or an Oregon. And so it was exciting to see that kind of output. And hopefully Carnell Tate is feeling 100% next game. I think that Jeremiah Smith used some of his NIL money and paid Carnell Tate to sit out. He said, hey,
wow,
Carnell, I love you, bro, but I need that Blitnikoff. I need that jump. So he said, hey, Carnell, here's 50 G's. Go ahead, say your hammies tight, and let me cook.
I mean,
wrong.
You don't think Jeremiah is going to be invited to New York? Think he has a shot?
He has a shot to be invited, but
to win.
To win, no. To win, no. But I think that, I mean, even this game helped him maybe get an invite to New York. I could see him, depending on how many people they invite, I can see him being like a fifth. They invite 5 sometimes.
I'm not sure. If they do, then I don't remember the years.
I think he could be the 5th. But you're gonna have those three QBs: Sam, Mendoza, Simpson. And then he's right there. So he could be the 4th one.
I think
free flight.
I think Hill gets the invite over Simpson from Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, just recency bias, maybe, but also the fact that Texas A&M is undefeated, and that drive. And if you want to call a Heisman moment, I mean, it was really early in the season, but the drive to basically the game-winning touchdown drive by Texas A&M in that game, their offense, I think that one is where I give him the edge. But
to Marcel Reed, you're talking about?
Yeah, what did I say? Hill?
Yeah, he said Hill.
Yeah, I don't know who I was thinking. Yes. Reed, yes, my bad.
That boy been playing NCAA with no names on it. Just QB number 10 with the dreads.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. I just think that there's been so much hype on Ty Simpson all year that it's hard to downplay that. But you're right. I mean, maybe what's probably more realistic is that all 4 of those quarterbacks get in. I think you're right that Reed is probably in over Jeremiah Smith at the moment. So, probably 4 quarterbacks, 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten, and that honestly is that kind of is a fitting narrative to like what this season is. Like, there's 2 great Big Ten teams. two SEC teams people like, and you got the leaders of each of those teams coming to represent, you know. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not too much to really. I mean, there are things to talk about in this Purdue game. You know, I'm sure our audience has probably heard a lot of, some of those storylines. Carnell Tate not playing, defense still, keeping a team under a certain average of points. As Purdue only scored 10, right? Um, the Julian Sand interception, uncharacteristic like, but he's a young quarterback. He made a mistake, but um, and then like you mentioned, Jeremiah Smith's great stat line game. Kind of moving forward, we play UCLA this Saturday. We got Rutgers,
Mm.
and then the game. Finish off the season, of course, with the game. And you were talking about the Big Ten and some other close games. Indiana, Penn State this past weekend, Iowa, Oregon. Oregon, ended up winning that game. Indiana ended up winning their game up in Happy Valley. What, in terms of the Big Ten championship game, what are some things at the forefront of your mind as far as it pertains to Ohio State?
Well, yeah, Justin knows he depressed me this weekend. I was excited. Ohio State won. Everything's good, and then he brought up the Big Ten championship scenarios, which I started to read, but I didn't finish the article. Maybe subconsciously, I knew not to finish the article because just recognizing the fact that this is similar to the last feels like 5 years, where it's like going into the game against Michigan, whether it feels like we're way better than them, whether it feels like, it's an even matchup, a tough matchup, they suck, we're good. Like, it still is like, if we don't win that game, it not only is a loss of our biggest rival, but it also messes up our Big Ten championship hopes. And so in the past, it also messed up our playoff hopes. Not so much now, but if we lose this game, it's likely that we're not going to the Big Ten championship. And it's just like, if you right now after that game last on Saturday, I was just like, okay, it's clearly going to be us versus Indiana. There's no other option. There were two teams on the collision course, 1 and 2, two Heisman favorites, like all this narrative. It seems inevitable, but it's literally not. And especially because Ohio State does have, I mean, Michigan is a better team than anybody that Indiana plays left. And so if anybody was going to mess it up, it would be us. And that just sucks. This is like when Kobe and LeBron, like in like 2009 or whatever, when it's like these two guys, they got the commercials, they got the puppet commercials, and it's like these two guys on opposite sides are going to have a collision course in the finals, and then the Cavs didn't make it. It's just like, wait, we already everybody thought it was going to be these two teams playing, and then you forget that one team can lose and not make it. And so I'm a little nervous about the fact that the Big Ten championship game is actually on the line in Ann Arbor.
That the series was crazy. I think you're referring to the Magic
Yeah,
Cavs.
Magic series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unbelievable. Anyways, um, yeah. I mean, so if we, this is in this scenario the most likely scenario of scenarios. That's what people are referring to when they say that Ohio State and Indiana are on a collision course because of the fact that we are going to be favored in the rest of our games. I mean, let's call it what it is. That last game of the year is going to be tough, November 29th, but we're going to be favored in that game, unless pending any type of massive injury overhaul. We're going to be favored in that game. Indiana, you might as well go ahead and pencil them in, Sharpie them in. Wisconsin, Purdue, and they have a bye in between those games. So here we are. We go up to Ann Arbor on November 29th. If Oregon wins out, which Oregon has Minnesota this Friday night, which is so incredible that Ohio State always dodges these Friday night games.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure contractually they cannot play a Friday night game. I think it's Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. That's a guess. I don't know.
We've
But
played Friday night. We played actually Minnesota on a Friday night like years ago, but it's been a few
yeah,
years since we've had that.
that was. I think that was that. You mean to open up
Yeah,
the? It was CJ's first game. I think that was Thursday. I think that was a Thursday night. But either way, weeknight. Oregon plays Minnesota, USC, and then their rival Washington within the Big Ten. Those are going to be some tough games, though. I'm referring to the USC. That's going to be their toughest game, and then they have Washington. So the idea is that if Oregon only had, I'm not if, but Oregon only has one Big Ten loss, and that is to Indiana. If they win out, we would only have one Big Ten loss, but because there isn't the only common opponent that we have that's coming off the top of my head is Washington, which they would have beaten. They break the tie because of the fact that uh, Michigan has a loss to USC, and Oregon would have beaten USC. So they jumped them, and then the team that we lost to in Michigan, um, it's just so unfortunate, man, that Oregon gets that tiebreaker and will go to rematch Indiana if we don't win. If we don't win,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's it's just at the end of the day, you just got to do what you got to do. You have to just finish the deal. And I think mentioned this to you yesterday. If we lose to Michigan and we win the national championship, that would be a tough pill to swallow. Now, the national championship obviously is the biggest prize. That's why you play. Everybody play. You know what you got. The hat that you're wearing, we earned that last year, 2024 national champs. But if the only team we lose to this year is Michigan, because we're assuming that, in order for us to obviously win the national championship, we have to win the rest of our games. But if we lose to Michigan, that's the only team we lose to. It's just gonna be. It's just a bad. It's just to me. It's just a bad. It's just a bad deal, man. I don't know how else to put it. So
Wow.
I know it's. I don't want to go in depth of the Michigan game yet, but it's just a bad deal.
Like I said, I'm focused. You on the national championship. I'm focused on the Big Ten championship. That's what I want more of anything, because it's been a long time since Ohio State has won the Big Ten championship, and we had a long string where we were dominating that, and it still feels like we dominate the conference, but somehow we have no championships in the last 4 years to show for it. So I really want to win that, and that's why I want to. I mean, the good news is that Ohio State's not going to overlook Michigan. It's not like, sometimes Ole Miss overlooks Mississippi State and loses the Egg Bowl and whatever. That's not going to happen. We're not going to go into that game unfocused. But it's just one of those things where the stakes, sometimes it feels like some years the stakes are high, and this year feels like right now, it's not, the stakes aren't high. Like, we are already the best team in the country. There's nothing to lose besides our own, pride, but actually there is a lot on the line still in that game. And it's just crazy how it works out that year. No matter what the circumstances are, if we lose that game, we're not going to the championship. It just doesn't make any sense, given that we've been, in my mind, the best team in the league for years. And it's like, it just feels like in other conferences, the best team can lose a game and they're still going to the conference champ. Not even one team, just going to the game. It's like, we won't even go to the game if we lose one game in a Big Ten that everybody agrees or feels like is not strong this year. It's like, Big Ten is down this year. But if Ohio State, the number one team in the country, loses one game, they don't even go to the conference championship game. It's just a silly thing. One last point about the outlook and the belief in this inevitability of Ohio State versus Indiana in the Big Ten championship. Right now on FanDuel, which is not our sponsor, shout out to Yahoo Sportsbook, but FanDuel has odds for the Ohio State Indiana game right now. You can pay for that game right now. Ohio State, you want to guess real quick
what the spread is? Ohio State is favored, and I'm going to say that line has got to be somewhere in the single digits. So I'd say 3.5.
5.5. Ohio State's currently a 5.5 point favorite. There are no lines for the Ohio State Michigan game yet. There's not a line.
Really?
Yeah. So you can.
Now, wait a minute now.
You can get on FanDuel right now. You can pay for a bet of the Ohio State Indiana game, but not the Ohio State Michigan game. And so maybe they're taking it down because they're just unsure. It's probably a hard game to to handicap given the fact that we were 20.5 point favorites last year and lost. So anything could happen, but it's just kind of funny that there's no other conference championship game that they're providing odds on right now. And so that's just how much everyone believes these two teams are destined to play each other, Ohio State and Indiana, but it's actually not given yet.
And you're saying just in that sports book, not that there aren't any odds
Yes, I'm
anywhere.
saying in the sports book.
Okay, gotcha. Did you venture to guess what the odds
I
are?
don't even want to know. I don't care. I don't care. We were 20.5 point favorites last year. 3 touchdown favorites.
Not anywhere near that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, shit, I wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, you take Michigan money line if you're not an Ohio State fan. I don't see why you wouldn't. It's like worth the risk. But
yeah, we'll talk about that game when it comes. So as far as a prediction on the score for this week against UCLA, the Fighting New Heisels, what you got?
I'll let you go first. I went first last week.
I thought you forgot. All right. We'll be in the building. Night game on NBC. Give me the Buckeyes. 45-6.
Okay. I'm going to go Ohio State 34, UCLA 10. I'm going to go a similar game to this Purdue. I think those teams are fairly similar in terms of their capacity. And I just think Ohio State's going to play like they played again this week. So I got a low scoring game, 34-10. Maybe similarly, UCLA gets like a garbage time touchdown at the end. But I don't have. I can't bet for us scoring 40 anymore. It's just like they just stay in those 30s too often. Yeah.
I'm trying to account for the defense scoring, especially at home.
Now Nico is known to throw some picks.
Right.
That's different about them is that they are UCLA is not good, but they do put the ball at risk more often. So
I'm hoping for at least one defensive score. I'm always hoping for a scoop and score. It's a little inside joke, but Nico's second time coming to the shoe is another night game, and it's not going to be as cold as it was in that playoff game, but it's still going to be. We're still going to have the advantage. So
no, he did that, or he did the LeBron joint. He did the
he did the LeBron thing. Yeah, he didn't do the Cam.
I mean, either way, it was stupid. Either way, it was stupid because at that point they were down by like 20 points. It was just a weird flex because not only is it like, oh, it's too soon, first half, you shouldn't be flexing yet, but also you're literally getting whooped in the moment, and he still was starting to flex on us. Like
everybody, whenever they say, I'm sure they go into a game against Ohio State, meaning our opponents, and they say, whenever I get the opportunity, I'm gonna do that celebration, and it just is what it is. Dog.
Yeah. Shout out to Brown, next sponsor of the pod.
Yeah.
Future.
So come to New York. So, week 12 is going to, outside of our game, has some pretty big matchups. So, in that noon slate, the game I'm looking at is Notre Dame versus Pitt. Game day is actually going to be at that game. Notre Dame is favored by 11.5 here. My only thought on this game is the fact that Pitt has been playing really good ball lately against ACC opponents. And, that this game, and Pat Narduzzi says something interesting yesterday in his press conference. A reporter asked him if this was a must-win game, and he said, no, not at all. I don't care if we get beat 110 or 103 or whatever. Like, we got two more. We're worried about the next two ACC games. And I'm like thinking to myself, why would he say something like that? Like, is that a Jedi mind trick? Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I don't think this is a big game partially because of that. I'm taking Notre Dame on the alt line, Notre Dame to win by 20 points. Your coach coming out and saying he doesn't care if they get beat by 100. I've never heard anybody say that. Even when Grambling was playing Ohio State, The coach didn't say we might get beat by 100 points, but we just on to the next one. Like, yeah, that's not even what FCS teams say. I don't know why he said that. I mean, it's clear that it's true that to reach their goals, get into the playoff, they don't have to beat Notre Dame. But if it was a team, if it was they were playing, um, Purdue, they wouldn't say we don't care if we get beat by 100. They're saying that because he's saying that because he knows Notre Dame is a much better team. Notre Dame's an 11.5 point favorite on the road at Pitt. Yeah, I think it's going to be an easy win for Notre Dame. But yeah, Pitt is a good story right now. They're ranked and they play Georgia Tech and Miami in their last two games. So it's like they're a team to watch for the rest of the season. But if the coach isn't locked in for this game, I'm not locked in as a viewer.
Yeah. Now Pitt does also play Miami. They do play Miami. That's one of the other two ACC games they have remaining. So we shall see. So that mid window, 3:30. Um, it's Alabama OU, but I think it's at Alabama.
Yep.
Yes. So it's OU Bama. Any thoughts? Initial thoughts for this game?
I think it's a pretty good game. I mean, it's a 6.5 point spread. I mean, 6 point spread. I think OU has a chance definitely against Alabama. I don't think Alabama is sort of a juggernaut. I hope it's a really good game. Hope it's a close game. I don't know who I think is going to win. I mean, Alabama should win, but I wouldn't be surprised. OU, especially OU having a history of just beating Bama. Like it's a little bit of Venables kind of has their number a bit. So yeah, I think that is a legitimately good game, and we'll definitely have playoff impact. OU is playing to stay in the playoff picture. They lose, they're out, and Bama won't be out if they lose. But right now they're in a cushy spot, and they potentially can mess that up. I'm not sure if it impacts their SEC championship, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Bama has looked less than impressive coming off of their win against LSU. At least I really thought, looking at that game, that in the second half, LSU had a chance based on their defensive performance. Their offense couldn't do anything, and it was just bad television. It was bad TV.
Yeah.
OU, gosh, I mean, is this going to be a defensive game? Because that's the strength of their team. Um, I think if Oklahoma can win this game, I've got them at being at large, and yeah, I mean at this point in the
Well,
season, right? I don't know what they'll do for the rest of the season.
I think
Yeah.
some of that's going to depend on kind of to jump ahead the game in the final window and what happens there. I think OU is going to be impacted by that game as well.
All right, Texas, Georgia. Um, Man, this is a big time matchup. I just think the first thing that comes up to my mind is what's Archer going to do? Which Arch Manning is going to show up? The Arch Manning at the beginning of the season, or the Arch Manning who was yelling in the camera before the Vandy game, saying that we at the crib, but they're not at the crib now. They will be in Athens. So
Yeah, I've I I mean I don't like Georgia, so I'm hoping Georgia loses. But I do think that to your point around OU, like OU right now is behind Texas. They have the head-to-head loss to Texas, so you know they kind of probably would have rather Texas lose so they can jump Texas because like whatever kind of weird thing is like if a team has more losses than you, then it doesn't matter if they beat you head to head. So they probably rooting for Georgia. I'm just rooting for a good game. Um,
mhm.
and yeah, it would be exciting to see like a shootout in this one. If I would rather see like Arch. I don't want to see a defensive game. I want to see Arch lighten it up and see if Gunnar Stockton can keep up.
And Gunnar Stockton is a surprising um, has surprised me a few times. I will say that. I can't say that he's the best QB in the SEC, and I can't say he's the worst, but I'll just say he's the most surprising to me. I did not know some of the throws that he makes, and the connections he has with his receivers. It just surprises me in certain game situations. So
When they're forced to throw down the field, I think they're kind of at their best. Like they don't always do it, but you saw it in the Tennessee game. That's why I'm saying I hope it's a game like that, like the Tennessee game, where it's
hmm
just high flying, high scoring. I think that's exciting, and I think both of those teams, both Texas and Georgia, are best when they're put in that position. Think about Texas. Arch's best performance is like when he was down by 20 in the second half. It's like all of a sudden he came alive. So I kind of want to see both of those teams put in that position just for the viewership. I don't want to care about what it does for them long term, but I think it'll be a good game, and I think that can happen.
well, we've talked about plenty of spreads, plenty of matchups. Uh, so let's go ahead and roll that footage for pick six. And now it's time for pick six. The BIA Pod's best bets of the week. 2 locks, 2 toss ups, 2 upsets. Um, let's do a quick refresher, Phil. Could you just refresh us on the rules real quick as we before we go
Yes,
into week
absolutely.
that was?
So a lock in our game is picking a team to win and cover their spread. If you get your lock right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, you lose a point. A toss up is picking a game where the spread is 3 or less. A game that's supposed to be close. We're picking the outright winner. If you get that right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, no loss. The last type of pick we make is an upset. This is a team you're picking as an underdog, and they have to be an underdog by at least 7 points. So, about a touchdown underdog, we're picking them to win outright. If you get it right, you get 2 points. No loss if you get it wrong.
Thank you very much.
Justin asked me to do that so he could spend more time trying to make his picks, y'all, by the way. Not for y'all, that's for him.
I was just gonna say that in my I've been accused of stalling,
Hmm.
but you know what? All
Stalling
gas, no
like
brakes
Joseph.
this week, baby.
They call that
You said
man
what?
Joseph. They call you Joseph because you be stalling. All right.
Wow. Whoa. Wow. All right, all right. Well,
You got a lot of red, and you got a lot of red on your.
oh my gosh. On the Buckeye podcast, you're gonna accuse me of that. All right. So the lock, my lock, it would not have hit last week had by the grace of God, did my lock hit because they went to OT and Vandy did not convert that fourth down before the end of the game. My gosh, that was a sweat. The other two, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the word again. Ugly.
I got
Ugly.
roasted in the comments on TikTok, but you know what?
They
We
roasted them
live. We
before
live to
and
fight
after the
another
game.
day. You said what?
They roasted you before and after the game.
Yeah.
The funny part is like it wasn't just after the loss. They came back and said something. They said something beforehand, and then they were right.
Hey man, we live to fight another day. And I'm putting myself out on the line.
Mm-hmm.
With these picks. I don't know what happened with UF. They gave up. They've already quit. BYU. I knew better. I should have known better.
Yeah. For mine, I felt really good about USC going in. It was comfortable for most of the game. It did help the end of the second half, in the first half, getting the pick six fumble out of the end zone. So that was nice. Clemson, that was a great pick for me. Never really a doubt. Mizzou's my upset. They were never close. Yeah, so tough. I don't know if there were any real upsets last week anyway, but we definitely didn't pick them. So
All right. So the score is now 14-11. You're in a pretty comfortable lead there, Phil.
the gap widens. Yeah, cream rise to the top. So I'm gonna go start us off this week, and I'm gonna go with my lock, and I'm gonna go to the game we just talked about, Notre Dame at Pitt. It's a 11.5 point spread. I think Notre Dame is gonna win by 2 touchdowns at least. So give me the Irish.
All right. My lock. I'm going to go ahead and take Ohio State. I will be in the building. What is that? 31 and a half?
31 and a half.
Ohio State 31 and a half against the Bruins.
Yep. Good luck, man. Hope you have fun out there at the game. It's like I'm salty tonight game because I'll just be at home. I don't want to wait all day to watch that game. But for you, it's great because you're going to be in attendance for it to be a night game. All right. Where are you taking us next?
Uh Man, I don't want this to hit and I didn't pick it, but I just have this feeling. Have a big noon feeling. Give me Northwestern over Michigan at Wrigley Field.
This is your
Um,
upset.
this is my upset. Yes. Michigan is coming off of a bye week, and I'm sure they've got some improvements that they've made. I'm hoping for a sluggish start in Chicago, and that Northwestern it continues to um, overperform and somehow get the win. Gritty team.
Okay. I like it. I mean, that would help relieve some of the stress of the Big Ten championship picture. So not mad about that. I'm going to ask for a half point favor from you for picking a road team in the Big 12. Um, I would like to pick Arizona to upset Cincinnati.
It's so interesting. Um, the spread is that much. I would think it's closer, but you got it, man. You got
Yeah,
it.
I mean, Arizona's played well their last couple of weeks. Um, I've been kind of impressed by them. So, yeah, but I think the
Oh,
Wildcats got a chance.
my bad. I put minus 6.5 for Arizona, but it's an upset.
Yeah.
All right, Arizona over Cincy. You got it. So your toss up.
All right, toss up. Again, this is a spread that has to be around 3 or less. And there are, in the Power Four, there's only one game that has a spread of 3 or less. And that is Clemson versus Louisville. Louisville. Now, I've picked Clemson last week. And I'm going back to the well. Give me the Tigers on the road. Partially because I want Justin to pick the other side of this so we can fight on this toss up. And I know he loves picking Louisville.
I don't love picking Louisville. You know this.
You pick them more than any team.
And from the ACC
Yeah.
or any team in general.
No. Yeah.
I should have picked them to upset Miami because I called it on the pod, but I didn't make it in my picks. But for the sake of time and also to go against the accusations of stalling, I will go ahead and take you up on that challenge. Give me Louisville over Clemson. This will make Clemson not eligible for a bowl.
That's why I think they gotta win this game. They've got Furman after this game, so they're gonna win that game, FCS opponent. So if they win this, then that means they'll be able to play Furman to play a bowl. If they lose this game, they're gonna have to play South Carolina at South Carolina to make a bowl, and that's not a position you want to be in. So
We've got to start doing like a little pod, like a BIA pod game. We're for some of these lesser teams, smaller schools, to say where is that school. So where is Furman, Phil? Do you know?
I'm glad you asked. Furman is in the South, so
It is.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Furman is in Greenville, South Carolina.
Is it really in Greenville? I
Yep.
didn't know that. I should have known that. Given that my dad's from Spartanburg, hopefully he's not listening this far into the pot. Um, but and he's probably mad I'm picking Clemson too. But that's because I think that South Carolina is going to win that game, and I think Clemson needs to make sure they get the bowl eligibility before they play the Gamecocks.
Well, good luck to South Carolina, who plays Texas A&M at College Station.
Shock the world.
Apparently, that's sort of SEC rivalry game, but yeah.
Yeah, I've played that on NTA.
All right, let's review the picks. All right, for my lock, give me Ohio State minus 31 and a half over the Fighting New Heisels. Give for my toss up, give me Louisville over Clemson, And for my upset, give me the Northwestern Wildcats over the Wolverines.
All right, for my lock, I've got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish beating Pitt and covering the 11.5-point spread. For my toss-up, I've got Clemson on the road beating Louisville. And my upset, I've got Arizona beating the ranked Cincinnati Bearcats on the road.
All right, that's the pod. You can check us out on TikTok at BIA.pod. That's BIA.pod. I'm Juston and Phill, OH.
I.O. Go Bucks.